Hey, Krista.
Hey, Sarah.
We're back for season 2, baby.
Right? Who would have thought we'd be back for another one?
I know. We still have so many things to talk about.
So I guess I'll see you Tuesday? Hey, girl.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Not much,
Happy
just
Tuesday.
living. Oh, yeah. Living my best life on a Tuesday, trying to stay out of this insane heat, you know.
Yeah, it's a mixture of heat, rain, and wildfire smoke up in this place. We're just trying to survive up here in Canada.
It is. It's true.
Well, I appreciate you braving all the elements in order for us to sit down and have a chat today, since this conversation revolves completely around you.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I guess I'll tell everyone what we're chatting about today.
Yeah.
Unless you want to.
I mean, I can assume what I'd like to chat about, but I don't know how it's going to end up. But yeah, tell the listeners, what is our episode topic today?
Today we are continuing the baby series, and we'll be chatting about the third installment, which is labor and delivery. What you maybe want to know, what you think you know going into it, which is very wrong. Great things, some terrible things, some crazy things, and everything in between. We'll be chatting about my 2 experiences, and I think I might surprise Krista with some facts.
Ooh. Just for the record, you don't have to tell me about both of the deliveries. But knowing that you have like maybe like a 5-month-old now, like that's probably the most recent. So, you know, pull from all your experiences, but I don't expect you to go back into your memory bank and like go back 3+ years.
Yeah, because to be honest, I barely remember the one I just delivered birth to, because it is such a traumatic experience. All mothers would like to delete it from our brains and never relive it again, because it's awful, but then we continue to have more kids. So it's funny how that happens.
Yeah, not that I've done a lot of interviews with people that have had babies, but definitely at least 2 other women that I can think of who've had babies never want to talk about their birthing story because it's traumatic. And it was horrible for them, so they don't want to relive it. So I don't know if there's an actual term of like labor amnesia that happens, but it seems also that you forget everything about that labor and delivery of your child, I guess, as like nature intended, so that you too have more children.
Yeah, well, and just like with any like maybe traumatic or terrible experience, why would you want to remember that? Right? So you remember maybe the nice moments of the childbirth experience, which spoiler, there aren't a lot.
Oh my God.
but you kind of it kind of just, I don't know, dissolves over time. It kind of just, I don't know, just gets removed from your brain over time, because it's a journey, it's an experience.
So, having said that, can you share what your overall experience was of labor and delivery, and maybe also temper it with, you know, the memorable moments for you that were probably, there are some positive because you have like this beautiful angel baby at the end of it, but I don't know if you just want to talk me through like your contractions, like how it started, like that whole story in 5 minutes or less.
Let's do it. So yes, I've had 2 childbirth experiences with the same partner, and they were completely different experiences. And I just want to kind of just put it out there that every person's, you know, experience will be completely different, even from, you know, sibling to different children, very, very, very different.
Sure.
So mine, with both of my experiences, I went past my due date. So I was over the 40 weeks, over the 9 months. And unfortunately, for both, I had to be induced. I was really hoping for my second Second, time around, I wouldn't have to be, just so I could, have a different experience, just kind of go like, oh, have my water break at home, just like you see in the movies and the TV shows, and then you just like go to the hospital. Nah, it wasn't like that. So I was induced for both.
And just to give some clarification for those who've never had children, such as myself, inducing means like going on Pitocin or popping your water or both?
Yeah, both, all of the above, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's a lot. So pretty much when you're going to be induced at that point. You've chatted with your doctor, you're going to go in. And yeah, you get on Pitocin. They pretty much like control your contractions. They pop your water. I'm not going to tell you how they pop your water, but they pop your water.
Okay. Can I stop you for a second? Like how long, when you first get the Pitocin, how long before it like kicks in of like your uterus being like, whoa, okay, something's going on here?
Pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Like it's crazy how fast things start to go.
And for popping your water, is it some kind of like hanger hook contraption that they stick up there that they just like yank? Yeah.
Literally, it feels like a water balloon is there, and someone's breaking the water balloon inside of you, and then it just gushes out. It's really hot. The water.
But that must be such a surreal experience to feel that though, inside your body.
Yeah. But at that point, I should also mention, which is so funny, when you get to the hospital, for people maybe that are pregnant or will be pregnant, you just leave your dignity at the entrance, at the front door. Leave your dignity. Everyone's going to see everything. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a disaster. Just don't worry. They've seen it before. They've probably seen worse. Just leave everything at the door.
Okay, so I'm glad that you opened the door to this conversation because for the novices out there, do they expect you to go in groomed, or are they going, like, because they want to be able to get to everything, right? They don't want to have to, like, go through bushes to, like, help you deliver this child. So
for sure.
Is it preferable that you've, like, done some, like, scaping of some sort?
They say they don't care. I think it's up to yourself and how comfortable you are with everything, because there's not just one person looking down there. There's a handful of people looking down there
who've seen those hundreds of vaginas.
Totally
at that point.
Absolutely. So yeah, for me, I was on the Pitocin and everything, so pretty much they're controlling my contractions. And then it just pretty much moves from there. I really don't remember much. All I remember was my first one. Obviously, the first time around usually takes a lot longer.
The first contraction or the first delivery?
The first delivery takes longer. Like I was in contractions for a while. I did get the epidural. I think the scariest thing about the epidural, and it happened during both my experiences, is I was having mega, mega, mega contractions while he was putting the needle in my back, which is the scariest thing, because you're having these insane contractions. Like, you're in so much pain, and then he's like, don't move. You're like, okay.
And the more you think about not moving is probably, like, the more painful it is. Did you have back labor? Like, yes. Like my mom and my sister complain about, it's like hot knives in your back. Like, you feel like your back is, like, breaking.
100%. I can't even describe the feeling. It's awful. I feel like it was significantly worse my first time around. Like, I can't, again, the pain agony level out of this world. But I remember as soon as I got the epidural, my first one, you could actually breathe. Which is like a sigh of relief. You could actually breathe. You could catch your breath. You can't move at all because you got things sticking out and everything. And something else that surprised me too, because in the movies, maybe the mom is hooked up to like one thing, maybe two things. But in reality, you're hooked up. You have IVs everywhere. You have it on your tummy. You have it in like both your wrists. You have it now in your back.
Not an IV in your tummy, but just like
something to like monitor the heartbeat and everything. You are hooked up. My goodness, so much. So usually at that point, once you get the epidural, if you choose to get epidural, then you can kind of relax, take it easy. Some mothers sleep. That's fantastic because yes, you do feel the contractions, but it's not painful. You feel pressure. You just feel a little bit of pressure come and then go. And that's it. It's lovely. So my first
the epidural
time around,
just takes the edge off.
Just takes the edge off. And it's like, honestly, I was terrified to get the epidural. But in that moment when I was in excruciating pain,
this is the first time?
I didn't think twice. Yes, I did not think twice. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about the needle. I didn't think about the consequences. What if something went wrong? I didn't think about anything. I was just like, I need help.
Yeah.
But at that point, I did not take a nap like all the maybe other people do. At that point...
Can I stop you for a sec?
Yeah.
Going back to the epidural with the first baby, did you go into it thinking, I'm going to try and go as long as I can, like endure pain up until like the last like window of opportunity to take the epidural? Or did you go in being like, I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to get it?
I knew I was going to get it. It was whether or not when I was going to get it. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, I don't need an epidural. I can, withstand the pain. Nah, I've been in pain for 9 months. Just help me out with this. We're good.
Totally.
The funny thing is about an epidural, like, and people probably know, but like your legs go numb. You cannot feel your legs. It is the weirdest thing. But
any tingling at all? Like, is it like
bit.
the dentist's office where he's like, you're numb, but you're like, you feel like weird, or it's like a different sensation?
I think it's different, although like very foggy on that, but I'm pretty sure it's different.
Yeah.
So with my first one, every contraction that came, his heartbeat dropped. So I was doing all different weird positions with it. I think it's called like the peanut ball, and different types of balls and different positions to...
Peanut ball?
Yeah, it's like a weird shaped like exercise ball, I would say.
Oh.
Going on my side, putting into my legs, sitting, up a little bit, going my other side, doing like all these weird positions in hopes to help him that his heart wouldn't drop every contraction. So it got to a point where the doctor came in, which is like, you don't see the doctor like ever. You and your nurse are like besties. You see the doctor like once or twice. They'll pop in, say hi, quickly check something, quickly do something, and peace out. Like the doctor is not with you at all.
Because they're like delivering other babies?
Yeah, I guess. They're just like a lot busier. I don't know. But and that surprised me too. So the doctor came in, and I remember her saying, if we can't, we'll give it another 10 minutes, but if we can't, get your son's heartbeat regular and it doesn't drop every contraction, you're going to have an emergency C-section to get him out.
Yeah.
And at that point I was like, like literally I'm terrified of C-sections. I was like, I do not want a C-section. Thank the Lord. My nurse found a position and I just stayed there, and it was fantastic. I did not have to have an emergency C-section, thank goodness. Another thing that surprised me was during the actual pushing, with my first one especially, I was pushing for, let's say, an hour and 45 minutes. The nurse was there the entire time. The doctor came in 5 minutes before he was born.
Right.
So like I was like wondering, I was like, when is the doctor coming in? Isn't this when the doctor kind of comes in and
well,
like
at that
helps
point
out?
is like, is it necessary? You just need somebody to catch the baby at that point. Right, you're doing it all yourself. Right.
So that shocked me too. I was like, okay, you go, nurse. Yeah, you do your thing. So
how long had you been in labor before you were pushing?
Because I was induced, you get induced like that morning and usually have it like that evening kind of thing. So that's kind of what happened to me. I got induced like that morning, and I think I had him like late that night, early the following morning.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's pretty quick just because they're controlling everything, which is really fun. Ice chips are God. Like, they're amazing. They taste so good in the moment. I don't know why. Yeah, valid. And just the crunch and the coldness tastes so good. And in all the freaking TV shows and movies, you see when someone's in labor and they're screaming, like we all know, that doesn't happen. No one is screaming. Because they tell you to push down. So use all that energy, because if you're screaming is coming out, but they want you to push that energy down. So they say close your mouth and push it down.
I totally believe that that's what they told you. I do remember when my sister's first was born, we were sitting in like the maternity area, but in like the waiting room, like not in like the birthing rooms. And trust me, we could hear one of those mothers screaming her ass off. And I'm pretty sure she was one of those who came from a culture where they never talked about sex or what pregnancy is or what it entails. So she was shocked as shit as about like what was going to happen to her because she had no concept and she was freaking out. And
well, they recommend, like they tell you, like close your mouth. Okay, now bear down and push down, right?
Makes sense.
Like, I didn't know. I didn't really take any of those like classes beforehand, like the prenatal classes or like the delivery classes beforehand. So I don't know. I don't know why I did it. I was just like, I'll figure it out.
And you didn't with your second either.
Nah, because I was like, nah.
Because you're like, I already did that.
Because the nurses, at least where I was, coached you so much and helped you through it so much. I felt like I didn't need to go to those classes. Like the nurse was so good with me. Like she like counted with me. She was there with me. Like so good. Sorry, should also say during my first, my mom and my husband were in the room with me, and then during my second, my husband was in the room, and they were both very supportive and helpful and there for me and like rubbing my back and doing all the things, right? But I would say that surprised me too. How is my mom?
Yeah, watching her child give birth, like it's a whole different thing when you see your child like endure pain to bring in like a life into the world. Was she kind of losing it at some points? Was she, strong and stoic for you the whole time? Yeah. Yeah,
she was strong. I think, like you said, it's hard to see like your kid, have so much pain. So I think I felt like she wanted to take that pain from me.
Yeah, she probably felt helpless at some points.
Right. So that was that. And another thing that people don't talk about, which is fascinating to me, because it happened in both my deliveries.
You shit yourself?
Oh, the first time I did, I was scared to do it, but in the moment, who cares? The nurse was like, she just acted like nothing happened, and I was like, did I shit myself? Did I just shit myself? And she's like, what? No, I don't know. Don't worry, you just keep going, darling. You got it. And I was like, I shit myself, didn't I? Because you can't feel anything, so you really don't know, right? But they're just taking it like, you don't worry. I'm just like, oh my God. But the thing is, and I didn't know this, when you're like in the moment of delivering, like during the contractions and everything, there is so much pressure in your butt.
Oh.
Yes, because I don't know, whatever the insides of a woman, there's so much pressure in your butt. Both times I thought my butt was going to explode. My butt was going to break. Literally.
Interesting.
And it is,
I guess that kind of makes
feeling.
Sense.
Yeah, it's the weirdest
if you think
feeling,
about
it
like
has
when
to go
you
down and then up, right? I think like the baby.
Well, if you think about putting in a tampon, you don't put it straight, right? You put it at the 45 degree to the small of your back. So then, yeah, if you think about like where the uterus probably is, it's probably somewhere in that area. So that makes sense.
Right. So much pressure in your butt. So just prepare for that, because I was not prepared for that.
I don't need to prepare for anything because I don't have to worry about that.
So that wasn't, I feel like that was a normal like first delivery. My second delivery though, my, and I will speed through this. Pretty much got induced, did everything, but things moved at a rapid pace. I think I got Pitocin. The doctor checked on me. She's like, okay, cool. Come back in a few hours. I'm like, okay, see you in a bit. And then all of a sudden, the nurse left. She's like, I just gotta do something. I'll be right back. Because usually they're in your room 24/7. They like usually don't really leave. But she's like, I'll be right back. Like, don't worry, you're okay. I'm like, okay, no problem. But then things got really bad. Oh. I got to the point where I couldn't talk. So I started freaking ringing the bell at the nurse's station to come. I was in so much pain. Wherever the pain was, the epidural was not helping. Yeah. Like I had so much pain in my back. Where did I have the pain? I don't even, in my butt. I think it was all in my butt. And I kept saying, my butt's going to explode. My butt's going to explode. I literally kept saying that. So, but before the nurse left the room, they checked me and I was at a 4 centimeter. And they're like, okay, she has a long time to go.
Because you have to be at 10.
Yes. I shit you not. 4 minutes later, and I'm screaming bloody murder at this point, saying my butt is going to explode. Right.
What the hell?
So then the nurses run in because they're like, we just checking her. Why is she being so dramatic?
Yeah.
They run into the room, 2 nurses, and they're like, okay, we'll get into a different position, get into the position. I am screaming, crying, screaming that my butt is going to blow up. And then they check me, and then they're like, oh shit, his head's right there. So how in 4 minutes did he slip and slide in my body almost
right? Because you were, they checked you and you were 4 centimeters.
Yes.
And then in 4 minutes you jumped up to 10.
So I think I was in so much pain because he was slipping and sliding his way inside me.
Yeah. He's like.
And then it was a mad rush.
Time to go.
Was a mad rush. They were getting the doctor, trying to get the baby stuff all ready. It was crazy. And also in the middle of me pushing during that, the mother beside me in the room beside me was a little further along. So my doctor literally had to leave during my pushing. And she's like, okay, Sarah, you're doing great. Maybe let's not push as hard and I'll be right back.
What?
Okay.
Hold the baby in? What?
Yeah, pretty much. Literally, he was out in 14 minutes of pushing. It was a wild experience. No, that's fast. Because my last one was an hour and 45 minutes of pushing.
Yeah, that is fast.
It was wild. So, just to sum it up, lots of pressure in your back, lots of pressure in your butt that people don't talk about. My goodness. Don't be bad if you poop, if whatever happens, they've seen it. Don't even worry. Yeah.
So what about tearing or the ring of fire? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. The ring of fire is right when the baby's head is about to plop, just come out. It's right there. It's that. It's the biggest part of their body. That's just
Sarah's trying to show me.
I'm using my hands. No one can see me. That's about to just plop out, and it literally feels down there, your downstairs area is on fire.
Yeah,
and it's literally feels it's a circle that's on fire. But it's only lasts a few minutes, so it's bearable.
A few minutes.
Yeah. Seconds, minutes. I don't know at that point. I don't know. I have no idea. And then, yes, I do have a stat on this, actually. 9 out of 10 first-time moms will have some sort of tear or whatever that tear is between that and your butt. I forget what's called.
A first-degree tear or the perineum tear? Or?
Yeah. So most people do have tears.
Look at me knowing this
degree,
stuff.
Second degree, third degree, whatever. So that's normal. Whether you tear or the doctor, helps you just to get it out.
Cut, yeah.
Exactly. It's normal. That's just kind of sucky for recovery, but it's okay.
Yeah, because peeing and pooping becomes challenging.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's also 1 in 5 women that are induced nowadays. Did you know that?
I didn't, but I did have a stat that said not about being induced, but the rate of C-sections has been actually rising.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. I believe it because I hear about it, because I hear people that like, oh, I had a C-section. Oh, I had a C-section. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that's terrible.
They just don't.
It's all terrible. It's all terrible. But like,
it's all some kind of pain, basically.
Yeah.
The use of pain relief options is also becoming more prevalent too. The use of epidurals is actually increasing as well. 67% of American women are opting for it. That seems like a low number, but it's like, can you imagine going freestyle?
No. And like, if you do, like, kudos to you. Like, that's great, but no thanks. I'm good. At the end of the day, women's bodies are incredible. If you've given birth, you're incredible, because like when you've like literally given birth and they're just quickly cleaning up your baby or whatever, and maybe you're holding your baby, you literally feel like Superwoman.
Of course.
You have so much adrenaline. Your hormones are all over the place.
Biggest accomplishment.
Oh my gosh. Because you feel like you can just like push a bus. Like you just feel like so powerful and so like strong and superior in that moment.
Because women are incredible. Literally created and delivered a human.
Absolutely.
So it's like, there's nothing that can compare to like what a woman can do. Is capable of doing. No, absolutely. So it's and then it takes time if you do have a tear. I didn't realize how long it takes to actually like stitch you up, but it took a lot longer than I thought. It took like almost an hour the first time. Like, I'm not sure what she was doing, and it took like 20 minutes the second time, but a lot longer than I thought. Yeah, it sounds like it's like a 5-minute type of deal, but it's like no, they're like going in and like making sure shit's together, I guess. Exactly. Oh, and pushing out the placenta too. That's fine, but it hurts because they are pressing on your stomach so hard because they want to make sure they get all of it out, because if not, you could literally die if they don't. They are pushing on your stomach so hard that hurts. Oh my God. And they're moving and pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to just to make sure they get it all out, which that's fine, but yikes, that hurts. Well, especially because your stomach was already sore from the contractions, right? Like your abdominals have been contracting this whole entire time. That's how the baby gets out. So it's like pushing on a sore muscle, of course. Exactly. But then you have like your bundle of joy, and that's fun. Like the first cuddles, it's surreal. It's literally crazy, but it's awesome at the same time. No doubt. So, knowing your first experience going into your second, like, what did you do to emotionally prepare yourself for, like, what the possibilities could be? Because you probably thought that you were going to approach it the same way of, like, having the baby naturally. But now, you had kind of blocked it out, but at the same time, if you're actively thinking about it, I'm sure you remember, like, what... Did you do anything to prepare? Or did you be like, no, I'm just going to block it out again until I'm like faced with it in my face? Because I went through it once, I was definitely more aware as to what was going to happen, which made me more nervous the second time around. The first time around, I was nervous, but not as nervous as I was the second time around because I knew what was going to happen. Right. You had expectations now. Exactly. And I think the second time around, I tried more methods to like induce labor on my own because I didn't really want to get induced by them. I really wanted to like, have my water break at home and then just wait and then drive to the hospital. I really wanted that experience. Yeah. Well, and the contractions are going to be more natural, right? Like exactly, not so like insane. But unfortunately, I literally tried everything in the book and nothing worked. How long can you have the baby in your body before they have to take it out? At least my doctor said they want to get it out. The latest is 42 weeks. Because at 42 weeks, my doctor said that
there's a lot more risks associated with the baby and you. Like I think, what is it, at 38 weeks, 37 weeks? Like the baby's like fully developed. They're just like plumping up and getting fatter, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't want to do it past 42 because then that's like higher risk of C-sections, higher risk of this, that, and this, right? So they want to get it out before then.
Got it.
And my goodness, I would be so uncomfortable for it. I think I made it to almost 41 weeks. 40 and a half the first one and almost 41 the second time. So, yeah, get out.
Yeah, because your body's been uncomfortable for a really long time at that point. It's the baby's pushing on everything. Like, there's no room.
Exactly.
That baby could basically, obviously, break its own water, but also, like, jack up your organs at that point, too.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing that it makes me, like, so irritated is when I see, like, videos or TikToks or whatever, and I see the men taking a nap,
playing video games.
Yeah, playing video games, like doing, and I'm just like when she's in like labor, it's like, are you serious right now? Get up off your butt and be there for your person.
So let's talk about your person. How did he show up for you in these deliveries?
No complaints. He was there. He was present. He helped me. He coached me. He encouraged me. He supported me. He got me my ice chips. Oh my God. Like, truly. Absolutely. Absolutely. He was terrified when I looked into his eyes and I was screaming the second time around. And he was like, wow, what is going on? What is going on in these like few moments when like no one's in the room with us? What is happening? He was terrified.
So tell me a little bit about, if you're comfortable, it's like, do you guys as husband and wife after the birth and bring the baby home, do you guys have a conversation about like with him, what that experience is like for him to like see you, well, obviously have his child, but like endure that kind of pain? Like, do you guys have that conversation? Did he bring it up being like, you know what, like this is like something I never prepared myself for and it was very hard to like watch you go through that? Like,
he said that again when I was going through those 4 minutes of hell, let's just call them.
Yeah.
He said, in that moment, I was terrified and I didn't know what to do and I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to support you. And he said, I couldn't do what you do. Accurate. The second time around, that's the first time around, wouldn't let him go past my hips to see anything. Like, nah, brah. It's like a bloody disaster down there. You're not seeing anything. Yeah. Second time around, he saw everything. Because he wanted to. I'm like, all right. That's weird, but okay. But yeah. I think he like enjoyed it. Like enjoyed, not like in a creepy way, but like enjoyed like seeing the process and seeing everything.
Yeah,
and see him,
being fully present for his child's birth.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Compared to like, dads like what 60 years ago that just like waited in the waiting room.
I'm trying to remember if my dad was there for my birth. I mean, I was born by C-section because I was in distress, so I don't remember if they had time to bring him in or not.
Gotcha. Oh my God, that's so scary. And also, what you see in like movies and TV shows, which they don't have anymore. Like, in movies and TV shows, they have like the nursery where all the babies are together and you look through the glass window and you're like, oh my God, that's my little sweetie over there. They don't have that in hospitals for security reasons and safety reasons, but they don't have that anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like, the baby just stays with the mom unless they're in NICU, and then they're in, like, a secured area in their little cribs.
Yeah, and they are very, like, at least where I was, they're very serious about that. Like, if they ever need to do something with your baby, there has to be a parent present.
Ah, okay.
At all times. They're not just going to take your baby out of your room with no one, like, coming with them.
And they're like, also really serious. Happened. Yeah. They're serious about you leaving with the baby too, right? Like, you have to like bring in the carrier so they can do like an oxygen test to be like, is this baby going to survive? Just walking out of the hospital with you.
Yeah, you have to bring in your car seat, and then you have to like strap the baby into the car seat while you're there, and they have to check it over before you leave, which is fine. A thing that I did for both of my experiences is I definitely overpacked.
So what's in that bag? What goes
like
in that bag?
Way too much. Because, like, think about it. You don't know how much your baby's going to weigh. Is it going to be a newborn? Is it going to be like in 0 to 3 month clothes? Is it going to be a preemie? You don't know what it's going to wear. And you want options for this baby. Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? You want some blankets? You want some other things? You need some diapers. You definitely need wipes. You need this, that, and whatever for all the baby shit. But then you need all your stuff.
Yeah, your stuff.
And all your recovery stuff.
Which is?
Oh, my God. Like, are you going to go like the Depends underwear? Or are you going to go like the pads at the beginning?
Yeah.
And then you're going to need like your nursing bra and then a top to nurse, and you get to pack pajamas and some toiletries and like this, that, like there's so much. And then like snacks,
socks with the grip,
right? And I guess things for your partner as well. They can pack their own things,
but he doesn't like. Oh, okay. So how many days are you in the hospital when you give birth naturally? Because I've only been partial to C-section births where you're there for a few days. Are you just 24 hours and they're like, good luck?
Yeah, I think we were there for one night the first time. So I guess like 2 days and then one night. And then the second time, because we were like second time parents, I think we were only there. We didn't even stay overnight because I signed up for this other program. I was like, get me out of here. I think we were there for like 9 hours, 10 hours.
Oh, wow.
And then we bounced. Because I personally found being in the hospital super stressful. Because at that point you're exhausted, everything's hurting in your body, your body is literally broken, bleeding, things are sore, your boobs are sore. Yeah, you just want to take a shower, you just want to be in your own house, you want to sleep in your own bed. Because when you're at the hospital, every hour of the day and night you got people coming in. You got nurses coming in. You got doctors coming in. You got people checking the baby. People checking you. People to check the hearing for the baby. Oh, we got to give the baby a first bath. Oh, we got to check this for the baby. Oh, we got to check you. It's just like, oh, my God, I just want to sleep. But you can't. So then they send you home and you're recovering. You're exhausted because you didn't get that night's sleep. And potentially the night before you didn't get any sleep. And you have this new baby. Good luck.
So how do you take that first shower when you've given birth and you're exhausted?
I waited till I got home.
But like, do you have strength to do that? Is it like a little quick shower, or you're just like, yeah, this is like before. I'm just gonna take my 20 minutes here, shave my legs, do my thing.
You definitely don't have 20 minutes. The first shower is glorious, but it's quick, right? Because you want to get back to your baby, because your baby's probably crying for you. Let's be honest. But it's glorious. It's glorious. Absolutely. But the first, if you have to stay at the hospital, it's pretty terrible. I'm sorry, because you have other babies crying too, and they have your baby crying, and then, oh my God, and you're recovering, because then at that point, your adrenaline and your hormones are crashing now, because you've been high for a long time, right? Few hours, and then they moved you into another room, and then you're trying to get a little sleepy. Nope, can't sleep. Nope, it stinks. Friggin' stinks. So just be prepared for that.
So when you brought your first and second, was it just, when you had your second, I believe, Big Brother was staying with grandparents, so you could just bring baby home and just focus on baby, right?
Totally, yeah. The first night, absolutely. Thank goodness. We needed that. You needed that just to like unpack, take a shower, figure out life now, and just get a little organized, right? I can't watch a toddler when I'm barely hanging on.
Yeah. Do you get any like post-delivery pain though? Because like your nether region is still, I imagine, quite swollen and jacked up, given what it's been to war, right? Like, do you just like take like over-the-counter pain meds for that? Like, can you actually sit?
All great questions. But we could potentially go into these questions if we do another episode of like recovery, but I can definitely answer them. It's tough. Like, it depends how your delivery was. So everyone will be different.
Yeah.
Depends on how, if you had a tear, depends on everything. It's super painful, straight up, because you're bleeding a lot.
Oh, really?
A lot. Oh, yeah. A lot. Your downstairs and other regions are in a lot of pain. You could take Tylenol or you can take Advil. They don't really give you anything else, I guess, unless if you ask, but that's what they kind of recommend. And your boobs are hurting. I was like, since I was on like IVs and everything, my hands were swollen and my feet were swollen and my legs were a little swollen as well. So there's just a lot that you're dealing with at the beginning, and then you have this newborn who needs you 24/7.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So make sure you have support if you are able to.
So now that you've had 2 babies and you could reflect, you've had 2 different experiences. What do you think that you would tell your younger self that you didn't know, that would give either some comfort or some level of like help or guidance or knowledge?
Yeah, great question. You're going to be in the most pain you've ever felt in your entire life, but it's temporary, right? It's only going to last minutes, maybe hours, hopefully not days. That would be terrible. Minutes or hours, right? And then you're going to have this lifelong child. So you can do it. You know, don't feel bad about taking drugs or taking the epidural or anything. Just focus. You're strong enough.
You're strong enough. Yeah.
You get a great gift in the end. And just focus on the end goal, right? Just focus.
Yeah. It's all because you want that sweet little baby at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. And don't worry, you will eventually be back to normal. You'll be fully recovered, and you'll slowly forget what just happened to you.
Yeah. Well, we'll save that for another episode where you can talk all about like what they call the bounce back. I think it's like a physical bounce back, a mental bounce back, all of the bounce backs that are happening.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about your labor and delivery that we didn't get to touch on?
I don't think so. Just highlighting that it's definitely not like the movies and TV shows that we see and that we watch. It's kind of nothing really like that.
Except ice chips are king.
Ice chips are gold. Take all the ice chips. Even bring some like, I was really into like bringing like Gatorade or like Powerade and like flavoring the ice chips. Like, yeah, that's good. You can do that. Just don't get the red flavor because they don't want you to have that.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe potentially think about what you want to eat after you deliver. Like, what's your like meal after you deliver?
What was yours?
The first time, I think my dad wanted to come and meet him, my baby. And I was like, okay, well, it's 2 a.m. Can we get McDonald's? And he was like, yes. I was like, score. Is it bad that I don't even remember? I don't even remember the second time. I don't remember. It was in the middle of the night. I have no idea.
By the time you have like the third child or the last child, like that, the baby delivers itself and walks itself home from the hospital. Like, just every subsequent child just becomes more independent.
That's valid. Oh, I should also mention, because Krista and I are based in Canada, having kids in Canada is, I guess, technically free. The only thing we had to pay for was parking at the hospital and I guess any like additional food that we wanted on top of the food that they provided to me. And I think that's about it.
Yeah. So we pay, well, it differs by province, but we pay through our taxes for healthcare. So we don't get a bill at the end of it that we have to submit to an insurance company. That goes straight from the doctor straight to the provincial healthcare system, and it's all worked out there. So
exactly. Oh, sorry. You have to pay for your hospital room. But if you have like any like benefit coverage, you could get like kind of some help with that to cover the cost of the hospital stay.
Yeah, depending on what type of coverage you have, it's either covered or you pay extra.
But at the end of the day, it's only a few $100s. We're not talking about thousands of dollars here.
Yeah, but I mean, it can add up because you're not there. You're there for 24 hours. Somebody like my sister who has a C-section is there for 3, maybe 5 days.
Oh my God.
That can add up for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
I think she was there for 3. I can't remember. Like those. I mean, they're not my kids, so obviously that's all a blur.
Yeah. It's a crazy, wild ride, and again, every woman's experience is very different. Mm-hmm. If you have any questions, or tell us you're crazy, or what did you learn from it, or what surprised you about your experience, I would love to hear about that. I'd love to hear about birthing stories. Now that I've gone through it, I'm like so into it. So share them if you want to.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I think what's important to note is that any person or any woman who's given birth has a community, and we should build on that community, not tear each other down based on how we've decided to go about bringing life into this world.
Yeah.
So, love to hear from other viewers and their stories, of course, if they're comfortable to share. Thank you to Sarah for sharing her stories today and letting me ask all of the questions that I love asking, and the inappropriate ones.
I have a final question for you, Krista.
Okay.
Did my experience, just like the highlight of my experiences, scare you?
No, I think I'm not going to say that I've heard all of the bad stories already, but I've heard different levels of like I said earlier, right? Like you're probably the third person now to tell me how traumatic your birth was. But from a really early age, I knew that birthing babies was not for me. And so, like I never considered myself someone that would give birth naturally. I mean, I'm not having kids, so it doesn't matter. Not that I wouldn't like adopt a child or something, but I'm not, making any babies anytime soon. So, it doesn't scare me because I think I've heard all different things, and I've, drilled my mom pretty hard about birth because you follow your mom's experience, like your reproductive system kind of follows, on the maternal side, like the sequence of events. So my mom talked about her labor and back labor and hot knives in her back. So I got those stories from early on where I'm like, yeah, I don't want any parts of that. Pooping yourself.
That's why I say, leave your dignity at the door.
Yeah, that's my mom said the same thing. She's like, she always like get naked no matter what, and she walk around naked in her house. And I'd be like, this is an open concept house. People can see you from the front door. She's like, I don't care. I gave birth to 3 kids. She's like, it is my house. And I'm like, okay, valid, but yeah.
Like it's crazy how close you become with the nurses, even if you've like how quickly you become so close with them because they see everything, they know everything. They take you to the washroom after a few hours after like they take out the epidural to make sure that you can go number 1. So they literally, they're standing there with you being like, okay, you have to go. I have to be here. And I'm like, okay. Like you are like BFFs by the end of it.
They've seen it all without judgment.
No, yeah, true. It's true.
All right, I think we can wrap up this episode.
Let's do it. I think it was long enough. I guess I think I bored everyone, but I hope this was informative and not
insightful.
Too scary.
Yeah. As always, we follow us on all the socials. We definitely want to hear your commentary there. If you really like what we're talking about, we would love if you give us like a rate and review. We always want to hear feedback on topics that you love us talking about, things that you'd love to hear us talk about more, things that maybe we should stop talking about. But we always love to hear from you. And I love to talk with you, Sarah, obviously.
Obviously. Well, I guess I'll chat with you next Tuesday then, Krista?
Yeah, I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.